Did you know a nuke could end the world? I didn't. I always thought it was just a big explosion. Turns out there's actually a lot more danger to that big explosion. Like, obviously the radiation is super deadly and is horrible and evil, and the explosion itself is really deadly. Like, let's say that America and Russia went to war. Well, 99% of the people living in the United States, Russia, Europe, and China are all gonna die, and then afterwards, the rest of the world is gonna starve to death. So, the reason being is nukes are hot. 5 times hotter in the center of the sun, actually. And when they go and explode, they cause fires to rage everywhere. And those fires cause soot and smoke, dirt and black carbon, all that crap to get trapped in our atmosphere and block out the sunlight. Now, some simulations say that would block enough sunlight to drop the world's temperature to 13 degrees and drop precipitation by 50%. And then afterwards, all the vegetables are gonna die, all the animals are gonna die, and then comes the famine. And then afterwards, all technology is going to be destroyed because when a nuke goes off, it causes an electromagnetic burst because the gamma rays ionize the air molecules. You see, space is full of a bunch of things that would kill all of humanity nice and good. Like a meteor, for example. Now, our planet's bombarded with meteors often, but the thing is that they don't have what it takes to be dangerous to us. There's a lot of things that make a meteor dangerous, and it's things like its size, it's obvious, its speed and mass, and its angle. You see, meteors are full of a whole crud ton of kinetic energy, and if they come in at a shallow enough angle, it gives them more time to slow down in our atmosphere and lose that kinetic energy. So what makes a meteor so dangerous is kind of similar to a nuke. You see, that kinetic energy has to be converted to something, and usually it's going to be a shockwave and heat. And that heat causes firestorms, and those firestorms clog up our atmosphere with the same things as smoke, dirt, dust, soot, all that crap. That's actually what killed the dinosaurs. But quite frankly, I'm very glad the dinosaurs are dead. And unlike the dinosaurs, we have ways to stop the asteroids, like changing its velocities. But let's say it was a rogue planet came on in, right? Well, we wouldn't be able to do anything against that. It's far too big. Basically, a rogue planet is a planet that gets booted from its solar system through a bunch of different ways, and it just drifts through the solar system like a lonely little nerd of a planet. And if one was angled right at our planet like a big game of galactic billiards, we would be done for. And then there's like black holes. Did you know black holes move? I didn't know that till just a little bit ago. I thought they stood still, but turns out they actually can drift through space like anything else can. And they're very, very hard to detect. They're basically invisible. So one could be hurtling towards our planet right now, and we could just wind up in a black hole tomorrow. And at the very least, it would be a very cool way to die. And then there's gamma ray bursts too, that could kill us. So basically, a gamma ray burst is the most badass and awesome explosion ever witnessed in space. It's basically when a supermassive star collapses or 2 neutron stars fuse, they shoot out a crazy hyper-concentrated beam of energy moving 99% the speed of light. And supposedly, anything caught 200 light years of that beam of light would instantly die. Now, that's crazy, but luckily enough, they've all been very far away and they're super concentrated, so the odds of us being hit by one of those are unlikely, alongside us being hit by any of the other things I talked about, because space is huge, and there's a lot of room for everything in there. Now, basically, whenever a volcano erupts, it sends a bunch of pyroclastics in the atmosphere, and that's just ashy crap, and that does a very good job of blocking out sunlight, and it would cause a famine much the same way that a nuke and an asteroid would. Now, some scientists actually think a volcano already gave a pretty good shot at killing all of humanity, and the reason they think that is because humans don't have a lot of genetic diversity. All 8 billion humans actually have less genetic diversity than a pack of chimps in the jungle. That's weird. So, some scientists have theorized that the Toba supervolcano erupted so hard that it starved to death all but 1,000 breeding pairs of humans. So, bioweapons are super impractical and very dumb. They're not that great of a war weapon. The likelihood it'll infect your own troops is extremely high, and if that happens, you're going to look like a dingus to everywhere in the world. And it could take weeks to kill the other side. It's just not practical. But what makes them a crappy weapon makes them a fantastic doomsday device. You see, the advancements in biotechnology and the continuing advancement of AI alongside it is making the possibility of super pathogens and disease far beyond the scope of human comprehension and natural creation become a bigger and bigger possibility. And those flaws that make it a terrible weapon, well, they're just going to make it such a good doomsday weapon because they're going to spread unpredictably, they're going to go everywhere, and they're impossible to control. Now, let's say a small group of losers wanted to make a doomsday bioweapon. They could do it pretty affordably compared to every other doomsday weapon. So I wanted to throw this one in because I'd never heard of it before, and that made it kind of interesting to me. So, basically, ecosystems are under constant stabilizing and destabilizing effects. That's just kind of the whole shebang of being an ecosystem, but if they get too destabilized, bang, they collapse. Now afterwards, that leads to a loss of whatever defining characteristics and unique qualities the ecosystem had before, as well as a possible loss of life in the area. Now, the whole idea behind this doomsday is that due to things like pollution and overfishing, mining, and all that other crap, human beings are putting an insane strain on the global ecosystem of the entire world. And the idea being that if it collapses, we would be doomed. You see, human beings may live very disconnected from nature nowadays, but we are still very much so part of nature, and we require nature for things like clean drinking water, air, and medicine, and food. And without a global ecosystem, we're basically cooked. We got nothing we can do about that. Now, a lot of science people have said that we are currently at a greater loss of biodiversity than any other time in Earth's history, which I find kind of hard to comprehend. Now, I don't think we have an effective timeline for when this will happen, because I see a lot of conflicting information from science guys saying it'll happen next 30 years, it'll happen next 100 years, next 1,000. So I don't think we really understand a lot about this doomsday. But we do know one thing for certain, and it's the majority of scientists claim that humanity will end not by natural means, but humanity someday will face a doomsday caused by humanity itself, be it through intentional or accidental effort.